We are here as promised, I think within a 2-week gap with our LinkedIn and YouTube live. This is, of course, an Ask Me Anything session. It is dedicated to all of you who may have questions about your study abroad plan, be it a master's, an MBA, an undergrad, or whatever it is. Questions about what kind of universities you can target, any questions with respect to the process. If you want any genuine or general career guidance, we'd be happy to do that as well. So this is your chance. 30 minutes is what I think we will do this live for. And I will try and answer as many of your questions that you're going to put on the YouTube comments or on the LinkedIn comments. I'm going to answer as many of those questions as possible. And beyond that, if I'm not able to answer your questions, which is often the case because of the volume of questions that we get, you can always schedule a free consultation call by scanning that code, the QR code that is on the screen, or by just logging on to www.gradvine.com. So I will wait for your wonderful questions to stream in, and we will start answering them to the best of our knowledge. All right, we have a question, or rather a suggestion coming in. Please upload videos on US universities admission process for bachelor students. We've already done that, Tariq. It's on our YouTube. It's called the Fall 2024 application timeline for undergraduate programs or for post 12th grade. You can just check out our YouTube channel, and I am the one who did that video. So that gives the entire application strategy and the timeline as well. And of course, if you'd like to know about that, you can just schedule a free consultation and get personalized advice, right? That's what we would recommend you do. All right, Kushal asks, let me just put up that question. Is it better to go for a master's now or try your luck in placements? Look, that's a very personal question. I cannot give a one size fits all answer to that, right? Now, for example, if you're applying for a master's in information systems programs, then you have to get a campus placement and do a job, because those programs prefer work experience. If your GPA is good and you're applying to an MEM, then it's not necessary to get a job because MEM programs don't require work experience. If your GPA is low, then your job will sort of compensate for your profile, and therefore you can take that choice. So I cannot give you a generic answer. It really depends on what you are looking for, what kind of degrees you're looking for, what kind of career outcomes you're looking for, your own background, and then we'll be able to give you a suggestion. So please schedule that free consultation, and then for your particular case, we'll give you very genuine advice. On our free consultation calls, we tell a lot of people if it's not a good idea to not apply for a master's itself. So our idea is not to sell on that call. It's about giving you a genuine consultation. So please go ahead and do that. All right, questions are streaming in at a rapid pace right now. So I'm going to try and be faster with my answers. I have a GPA of 8.53. All right, there is no question to this. Please complete the question. Overall, it seems like a good profile for most cases. But if you could complete that question, I'd be happy to answer. Minimum GRE for Purdue MEM that I've seen, I've had people get in with a 305 as well, right, in the past. But again, understand that MEM is getting more and more competitive as each day goes. So this year is going to be tougher than last year. Last year was tougher than the year before. But what I've seen is with a 305 also people have gotten in. MEM programs in general are more GPA centric, my friend. So if your GPA is good, you'll always have a shot at good MEM programs rather. All right, how is MEM at Syracuse University? Good, but not the best. I think there are far better programs out there, but Syracuse is in a decent location, well reputed, and it's an okay, pretty good program, but not among the best for sure. All right, how can we find affordable accommodation in expensive cities like Boston? That's always a challenge, my friend. Boston, New York, LA, all of these places, rentals are very, very high. Boston, you could look at certain other suburbs, maybe something like Waltham or something of that sort, which will need a little bit more travel. And honestly, the metro and tube services there are absolutely strong. So you won't, and Boston's not a very big city either. So even from a great distance, you can reach your classes in time, or just find people whom you can share it with. So yeah, that's always going to be a challenge, but it's risk return, right? Even though you're spending a lot for accommodation, if you're in a big city, the number of job opportunities coming your way is usually better. All right, I heard there is a housing crisis going on in Canada. Is Canada a bad option now? Unfortunately, even though we were big fans of Canada a couple of years prior, it's just getting worse and worse. Understand this, right? Not just the housing crisis. Canada as an economy is not that big. It's a big country, sure, very, very friendly immigration policies. And we help students to Canadian universities, right? We charge the same amount of money. And we've had them get into some very good schools like University of Toronto and the likes. But overall, in terms of the job market, in terms of career growth, general return on investment, Canada is proving to be a little bit of a risk right now. And that we are seeing students themselves realize, because the volume of applications we used to see to Canada couple of years ago as opposed to last year and this year is very, very low, because the job opportunities are very, very limited, right? So unless you're going to a top CS program, a top MBA program, I don't recommend Canada very strongly, because the job market and situation is not that great at this point in time. And this has nothing to do with the recent developments, right? It's not a recency bias that I'm giving you. It has been the case for a while now, in terms of the policies of letting as many immigrants in, actually breaking the housing and the job market in Canada, right? There's only a certain limit to which you can say, all right, everybody enter the country. All right, which track is better, UI UX research or business intelligence for UWash for job perspective, apart from product management? If you ask me, right, any quantitative heavy elective always helps out in terms of the job search. Therefore, I would say business intelligence overall would be better, purely if you're looking for jobs. All right. Is it late if I enroll now at Gradvine? Will I get a bad mentor? See, it's not late, right? But I'll tell you what. So just this month, and this is we are in the 23rd of this month. Over 100 students have paid, right? Just this month, and there were 350 who paid already, right? So it's not that you will get a bad mentor, but you have to understand that if people are taking more time to work on the process with our mentors, they are always having an advantage, right? So therefore, the sooner you start, the better it is. You will not get a bad mentor. The way the process works at Gradvine is that there are multiple stakeholders in your process. There's an account manager who handles your account, tracks your process through and through, and is dedicated to your process. Mentors are screened very, very thoroughly. If out of every 100 mentors that sign up on our backend, to be perfectly honest, only maybe 20-25 get through, right? So there is a screening process in place, and there will not be a mentor whose quality is bad, right? Even in the rare 1%, 2% case that it is, there is an internal team of editors who are graduates from Purdue, from Duke, and the likes, who will still take over your process. So there's multiple checks and balances. That's the only reason why we've been able to maintain the quality and the consistency over 6 years, and at the scale that we do, right? We do 700, 800 students a year. So you will see the consistency in our reviews, because there's a set process to ensure that your process is not dependent on one individual, right? There's an entire Gradvine team working with it who are experts in your process. So sign up early, take the maximum advantage of your time with us. You will not get a bad mentor. If in any case, rare case that your mentor is not satisfactory, we'll change the mentor, or our internal team is always there to back you up. So don't worry about it. I did not skip this question intentionally, Avinash. So see, if you're looking at very, very specific concentrations like data science and artificial intelligence, you should schedule a free consultation call and get that one-on-one consultation with my team. They'll be able to look at our list and give you options at this point in time. So please go ahead, because your requirements are very, very specific. Every fact about every program I will not have in my head, but somebody looking at a sheet and telling you will be able to give you the answers, right? So please go ahead and do that, and we'd be happy to help out. All right. I have published 2 papers under review for international journals and a good extracurricular profile too. What are my chances of getting into NCSU? Here is the problem. You have not mentioned which program. I don't see a program. If it is computer science, I'm assuming it might be computer science just on the basis of odds in terms of the number of applicants there. Yes, you should be able to get into, you should have a decent chance. You should hope to get into NCSU for a CS. If it is an MEM, you will certainly get through. All right, can you suggest some other alternatives for WES evaluation or SDSU? No, SDSU strictly requires a WES evaluation. You can't find an alternative. right? There'll be other companies, but WES is the most straightforward, most accepted process at a variety of universities. But there's no escaping paying for the WES evaluation for SDSU. Pros and cons: if I join a 1.5 year course starting from spring intake, will I graduate in peak hiring season? Yeah, you should be okay if it's, as long as if it's spring and if you're graduating from a 2 semester program, that's when the problem comes, because you're going to be graduating December, January, which is not a great time in terms of hiring, right? If you're a 1.5 year course, I don't see any problem in terms of you graduating into the job market. You'll be absolutely fine. It's just that spring just won't have as many options as fall in terms of the universities, because fall every university offers. But overall, I don't see a significant con, as such, right? All right. How is the Duke batch of this year versus Cornell MEM? Duke has a smaller class this year. It was very, very large the year before, and there were a ton of complaints. This year, it's just about starting up, so we don't have any reliable feedback in terms of quality, but it is significantly smaller. I believe it's 150, 160 as opposed to over 250 the year prior. So definitely a more quality class for sure, because they're not taking as many people. But overall, if you ask me, Cornell is always going to have the better class quality because they take 60, 70 people. That's still less than half of what Duke takes. So Cornell is always going to be the better quality class, but between the two, it's a very difficult thing to pick, right? Both are fantastic programs in their own right. All right. When is the early action decision open for fall 2024? I don't get the question. Early action deadlines are going to be from October 15th onwards. UNC Chapel Hill, if you're applying, and for a lot of programs, it's a terrific school, has an October 15th deadline. A lot of EA deadlines are November 1st. So if you're a UG applicant, you should really, really start doing it, right? Early decision is an entirely different thing. That is a binding decision, which means that if you apply and you are admitted, you have to withdraw your applications from everywhere else. EDs vary. You'll have ED1 and ED2. ED1 can be November 15th, November 1st. ED2 can be December and January. When are you going to hear back from these universities? You will only start hearing back irrespective of EA, ED, most likely February, March, not earlier than that. All right, I couldn't attend a whole semester worth of exams because I was very sick. I cleared every subject in the next term. How would this affect my chances of getting into a prestigious college? As long as you can explain it either in an LOR or a covering letter on top of your transcript, sickness is something that is viewed as okay. I've had people a couple of years ago made it to places like Johns Hopkins after they lost an entire semester because of whatever personal reasons. Universities could consider it, as long as you can justify it through a recommendation letter where the recommender himself or herself says that these backlogs are not really valid because of this situation, or you mention that in a covering letter that's attached on top of your transcripts, or you write an email to the university explaining for the same, and they will say just add it in the additional information section of your application, and you can go ahead. Just make sure the university knows about it. You should be okay in that case. Is CMU ETIM worth it, and CMU software engineering Silicon campus 9 months? Are you asking if both programs are worth it? Yes, they're very, very good programs. CMU is expensive, but you get what you pay for. 305 GRE Purdue, was it for spring or for fall? It was for fall. All right, how can I make my SOP more stellar or unique and set myself apart from the crowd? This is a classic mistake that people try and do. Your SOP is not a chance for for you to impress people. It's not a chance for you to show yourself to be unique, right? It's not about creating a story that nobody has ever heard of. That's not the case. SOPs, and you would have heard from the admissions committees themselves when we were doing a session with Johns Hopkins, SOPs are just your personal story, right? It's just you telling your own story and telling them about yourself and your goals and where you see yourself 5 years, 10 years down the line, and why you wish to pursue that degree at this point in time, and how it's going to give you the skills to reach your goals, right? A very straightforward, simple narrative, and maybe an element of how you add value to the class a little bit based on your past experience. So that's what it is. Don't try and make an amazing SOP and just make a mess out of it. They're not looking to be impressed by it. They just want to understand where you're coming from and why you want to apply to the program in the simplest possible terms. Your reasons might be similar to somebody else's reasons, which is absolutely fine. But stating those reasons in a practical manner, which shows that you've really thought about this career step at this point in time, is very, very important. If you want a deeper, more detailed answer, then you can check out our SOP masterclass. There should be a recording of that on YouTube. If not, just email my team and they'll send you the SOP masterclass where I did a 30-minute session on how the SOP structure should be. All right, while writing LORs, how do I ensure that the draft I'm writing looks genuine, since I'm the one writing drafts for recommenders and writing style can overlap with SOPs and LORs? That is something that we ensure with our services to make sure that the language in the LORs looks professional. It looks different from the SOPs. Writing style, again, nobody goes into that deep analysis, but yeah, there are typical traits in your writing, right? Then there could be you may not be able to gauge it because you're just reading the stuff that you've written ourselves, but our editors and our mentors and our internal team can very easily catch similarities between the same, because we review more applications and documents than admissions committees themselves. We've been doing it for donkey's years right now, right? So one tip, if you don't want to enroll with us, if you want to do it with yourself, which is fine, and this I have to give you that advice because you've taken time out to attend this live, is that don't go into extra praise in recommendation letters, right? Don't say that this person is great with this also, is great with that also, it was such an honor teaching him. All of that sort of things, all of that kind of stuff shouldn't be there in a recommendation letter. It should be a critical evaluation. If you're writing about some sort of praise, then back that praise up with an example, right? If you're talking about a particular quality, show how you've shown that quality in a particular project, right? If it's a professor who talks about technical stuff, avoid too much personality analysis. Keep it brief, but instead talk about the impressive parts, about the technical knowledge that you have and how you applied them while solving real world problems, right? If it is somebody like a head of the department, it's far more natural to talk about your out of class activities, right? If it's somebody who's known you from the first year, then it's more natural to talk about your growth as an individual. So it should seem logical, it should seem coherent, and that is something that we work with. And biggest mistake people make is in the first line or the first paragraph of the LOR, they don't set the context in terms of the nature of the relationship between the recommender and the student, right? So the position of the recommender, why is he qualified to give a recommendation about you, in what capacity have you guys worked under the professor, that has to be mentioned very clearly. Only if that context is set will everything else being said along with examples after that seem genuine, right? And will have a lot more weight. Don't make it a clump of praise. All right, I think I've covered this question already. EA, like I said, October 15th for UNC. A lot of schools are number 1st, number 15th. You should absolutely apply by then. All right. I've registered for GRE at home test due to medical emergency, but I got to know GRE cancels more than 50% of GRE at home score. That is not true. I think 50% is a ridiculously high number. What should I do? I'm really scared. Look, if you already booked it, go ahead and write it. Honestly, out of every 10 people who've taken the GRE at home, maybe 1 or 2 have got it cancelled from what I know. So don't worry. If more than 50% of the people are getting their GRE at home cancelled, then something's fishy with what they're doing. I think honestly, if you write it genuinely, at this point, it should not be an issue in terms of cancellation. It is still rare that somebody who genuinely writes it is getting a score cancellation, right? That being said, just guys, for the rest of you, just take it at the center now. I don't think there's any excuse to write GRE at home anymore. So please just take it at the center and avoid that confusion. All right, Dartmouth versus CMU MMIPS for product management. No comparison. Dartmouth's far, far better. I'm not saying it because I'm a Dartmouth alum. Dartmouth's MEM program in terms of reputation, in terms of selectivity, in terms of starting salaries, in terms of 100% placements is absolutely fantastic. That being said, CMU MIIPS is a terrific program as well. But if you get into both, and you will be extremely fortunate and in a great position if you get into both, I would pick Dartmouth. All right. I got admits in MEM in NEU and University of Massachusetts Amherst, mechanical design engineer with 11 years experience. Can I proceed, and which of the two? MEM in NEU, University of Massachusetts. 11 years of experience. It really depends on what career outcomes you want. I think both of them are very, very good programs. If you want to go into product management or project management, then MEM is a better bet. And with your 11 years of work experience, I think you'll get some great job opportunities after the two. UMass Amherst is a fantastic mechanical engineering department. Department to department, reputation to reputation, I'd say UMass Amherst is better. But again, it's within a technical field and a technical program, right? If you go into either, you'll be absolutely fine in terms of return on investment and jobs. It really comes down to where your interest lies. Again, the only thing I can tell you is program reputation versus program reputation. UMass Amherst mechanical design is okay. Wait, I'm sorry. You got into MEM at NEU and University of Massachusetts Amherst. I'm so sorry. I misread your question. Look, if University of Massachusetts Amherst is a very good MEM program, a lot of people have been getting very good job opportunities after it. But it's a program that's tailored towards manufacturing, operations, supply chain, and industry, right? So it's more tailored to mechanical production engineers. If that is the sector you want to stick to and you want to break into, and if you have 11 years of work experience as a mechanical design engineer, then maybe you want to stick to that particular program. Then UMass Amherst makes a lot of sense. Northeastern is a much larger class. It's a very, very good program. But if you want to pivot away from your manufacturing mechanical side into product management or the tech sector, then MEM makes sense for you. If I have to give you genuine advice, stick to your area if you still want to stick to it, and go to UMass Amherst. It's a very good program for mechanical engineers specifically, maybe not for others. All right, I'm just scrolling up and down for questions. All right, we don't escape from anything here, right? Hello, I've registered with Gradvine, haven't been allotted my SOP mentor for more than a week. My friend, I don't see your name. Please text me personally on LinkedIn. I will personally sort it out. We take all of these things very, very seriously, and that's why I'm not avoiding the question. So please text me personally on LinkedIn, and I will get in touch with the operations team, and I'll set it right? So anybody who has any issues, please don't worry. Reach out to me. And my team, we're always here to help out. We pride ourselves on delivering quality service. That's why I'm answering this question publicly. Reach out to me. I will have it sorted out for sure. All right. UWash MSIM versus Duke MEM for product management and return on investment. Have to say UWash MSIM, slightly more technical bent to the program, gives you better return on investment overall. Again, both terrific programs. You are comparing elite programs between the two. Apply first, and then you make these decisions if you get into all of these places, right? If you are making decisions between Duke and Dartmouth, UWash and Duke, Carnegie Mellon and Dartmouth, then you'll be in a lovely position. Finish the process first, and then we'll talk about which one is minorly better between the other two. All right. Why do you choose this attire for interview? I'm not being interviewed by anyone, my friend. I'm getting questions and I'm answering them for free. So I can show up in sleeveless if I want, right? So thank you for that. My God. Okay. Columbia University has kept GRE optional for MS and D. So if I scored between 300 to 310, should I submit my scores? I have a GPA of 8.43 with 1 year of work experience. That's a tough one. Honestly, if you're below 310, I would keep it optional. For sure. But also your GPA is good, so you'll have a fair amount of chance. But between 300 and 310, it's going to hurt your chances. All right. Very good question. I'm from a middle class family. Is it the right time to do my master's in computer science now, or should I work for 2 years and then pursue in USA? So here's the thing, right? When people ask me about a work experience, I always recommend work experience. The reason being, there is no downside to it. If you work for 2 years and then pursue a master's, right? And since you're saying middle class family, and I'm sure finance is a huge part of your decision, as it should be for most people, your starting salaries after you graduate from the program are going to be higher because you're going to be recruited as an experienced professional who has 2 years of prior experience and not a fresher. So ideally, you'll have a little bit of advantage in terms of the starting salary. So you're paying the same for your masters, but the starting salary is going to be slightly higher. So in terms of return on investment, work experience absolutely helps. So genuine advice for you: work for 2 years if you're willing to do that. For the same investment, you're going to start earning a higher starting salary, which makes sense for you because finances are a huge issue. So here's the thing, right? Like, I'm not here to sell you, and even on our free consultation call, we are not going to sell you stuff like no, you have to do a master's now, only something will happen in 2 years. We understand your case and we give you genuine advice. I could very easily say that no, now is the time you have to go and cook up some reason and make you pay, right? That's not the way we do our consultations. Honestly, for your case, staying back for 2 years and then applying later makes sense. So just genuine advice from my end. All right, BTech AI CGPA 9.16, founder of VL, leading position various clubs, aiming for MEM. That's a solid profile. Again, like I said several times, MEM programs and most master's programs are very, very GPA focused. If you're sitting on that GPA and the kind of profile you have, then you will be in a good spot to make it to a lot of good schools. I think a top 10 is a certainty. You can definitely push for a top 5. Which top universities are having rolling admissions for MEM and MS Industrial? Rolling they won't have, but fun fact, Dartmouth has confirmed that they will start reviewing applications on the 1st of December. So even though the deadline is Jan 15th, if you're applying for Dartmouth with any level of seriousness, please apply by 1st of December. You want your application to be top of the pile when they start reviewing it, right? Apart from that, Johns Hopkins has been notorious for having a Jan 15th or a March 15th deadline, but giving out interview calls and admits in November, December. So by mid-November, apply to Johns Hopkins. For industrial, Texas A&M has been a traditional rolling admit. That also by the middle of November, most certainly apply. Typically, UT Dallas also has rolling admits, but I'm not sure if it does this year for their program. But overall, from the big names, for certain, Johns Hopkins, Dartmouth has said so this year. And Texas A&M for MS Industrial will all have rolling. Irrespective, just finish applying everywhere by the first week of December. All right, I have to take this one. If one is a Reiki healer, should someone mention it in the SOP resume? No, don't do that. All right, 3.19 GPA, GRE 312, IELTS 7.5, one patent, 2 years experience. Rate my chances for MEM at Purdue, JHU, Duke, and Dartmouth. I don't know how you calculated the 3.19 CGPA. Have you used an evaluator tool, or is it your college that gives it themselves? If you used a tool, then don't do it. Just stick to your 10-point GPA. Unless Duke asks, then use Colero, and then you can get a different GPA. But let's consult with my team, and I want to understand where the 3.19 came from, and then we'll tell you the right way to go about it. I would still consider applying to Purdue, JHU, and Duke. Dartmouth will be difficult. Alrighty, moving on to the next question. What is your take on doing MS Biotechnology from the US? Very, very powerful. Bioinformatics, biostatistics, biotech, biomedical engineering, all very, very powerful. The sectors are seeing a great deal of hiring for foreign candidates. So it is excellent at this point in time. All right, considering MEM, there are many essays apart from simple SOP and LRs. How much time will it take to complete all the essays? How should I start with it? I have some bad news for you and all the MEM aspirants that are looking at it this year. So I got news from my operations team. Dartmouth used to have one SOP, one sort of social service type essay, how I used engineering to improve the world. Now there's a personal statement as well, right? Duke has 2 essays plus it has a question. which has 15 random things about you have to write. So the number of essays have increased significantly. North Carolina State has 4 essays. UIUC has 3 essays this time, but all of them are new, different from last year. So there is a lot of work. MEM, I used to say, yeah, you can finish it in about 30 to 45 days. Now it's looking more like 60 days. So there are a lot of essays. Every single MEM program right now has essays apart from a simple SOP and LORs. If you are starting now, please start ASAP. Look for us whether you start now or later. In fact, if you start later, it's better for us because we're going to charge you the same thing but spend less time with you, because after the deadline there's no use, right? So start early, take your time, schedule your free consultation, pay up, get enrolled with your mentor, and understand that it's going to take you 60 days to go there. Understand that a lot of these MEM programs are not like before. If you heard stuff from your seniors, that is not the case this year. Competition is much higher. From December itself, applications are going to be reviewed. It's already the end of September. You only have 60 days, little more than 60 days to go ahead and submit your application. So please understand that it's going to take a lot of time. And begin now. There are a whole bunch of additional essays, more than the previous years now. So please, MEM aspirants, wake up now. If you haven't already, schedule that free consultation, get started with the process. How should I start with it? I would start with the SOP for Northeastern, and if you're applying to Dartmouth. The reason being, these are definite standard SOPs which do not have a word limit. So you can make a master SOP which is between 900 to 1300 words. I can use that as a base for your Duke essays. You can cut that down for Purdue. You can cut that down for Columbia. You can also cut that down for New York University, NYU, if you're applying. These two universities are easier to write for in terms of the last paragraph because of how flexible the curriculum is. So start off with a Dartmouth or a Northeastern, finish your LORs and resume. After that, or while you're doing that, open up all your applications, start filling them, and then you can use these materials to take inspiration and finish off smaller parts of the essays. For MEM, start filling your applications right from day one, please, because there will be additional video essays. There'll be additional extracurricular character descriptions that you have to give in about 1,000 characters or such, right? So there'll be small things. If you delay it till the last moment, it's going to get very burdensome for you. So please get it moving, guys. All right. Can we add a critique point in the LOR, like something is not good with a particular thing? You can, and in fact, that comes off as very genuine, and you can do that. But again, don't say he's not good at it. Say that, okay, this is something that he can improve on, which the master's degree will help him with, right? So put a positive spin on it. It's okay to mention it. It seems very genuine. But put a positive spin to it for sure, right? Either say that he's already working on it, or you can say that the university, the atmosphere, the coursework, the curriculum will help them or help you overcome this particular weakness. So always a positive spin on it. Best colleges for MEM under 35 lakhs. If you're looking at it in the US, it's very unlikely. Understand that a dollar at this point costs like 80 plus rupees, right? So you are asking for what? A tuition fee of under $40,000, or and if you want your living to be covered also, that's impossible, right? You're asking for a tuition fee way below $35,000, which is not going to happen in the US. Those days are gone because of the exchange rates. All right. I've done electronics engineering, currently working in the telecom industry. I'm planning to pursue MEM, but can I get admitted to masters in supply chain management? Depends on your job description within the telecom industry. Are you working within the operations domain? Then yes, you can. Whether you should apply to MEM or SCM or both, that is something which we can only discuss based on your profile, your career outcomes that you want, and your past work experience. So schedule that consultation with us, and we'll take you. We'll give you advice. Like some MEM programs take you into supply chain, like Purdue and USC, for instance, or even Dartmouth for that matter. So you can apply to a combination, or maybe don't even apply to supply chain management. Maybe your understanding of the jobs after supply chain management is limited. All right, last couple of questions that I'm going to take. Do you have any data regarding the new GRE? Is it easier or more tough in terms of scoring? We do not, right? Because the test literally, I think, started today. So it's impossible for us to gather data. And trust me, you're not going to have reliable data for at least over a month, right? You're only going to have anecdotes. You're not going to have data as such. and that might be too late for your fall 24 application process itself. So you're not going to get that. Only we can share our opinions. I think because it's going to be shorter and the level of difficulty of questions is remaining the same, overall it's going to be easier for you, I would say. All right, the entire profile on the screen. I think I've addressed this question already. Various projects as a freelancer aiming for MEM. Which university should I go for with a GRE 305? I would still try and push for a top 5, my friend, because your GPA and your profile seems extraordinary. So a lower GRE can be compensated for. So I would still push for a top 5. I would apply to Duke. I would apply to Cornell. I would apply to Hopkins. I would apply to Dartmouth. If you're into ML and all of that, I don't think Purdue and USC will be of interest, but a top 10 for sure. But again, it depends on what kind of curriculums and career outcomes you want to. Right. Is it still okay to apply for spring 2024? No, I don't know what deadlines you're looking at. It's September. Don't do it. Just apply for the fall. Already spring has very limited options. If you're sitting in September without applying, the number of options open to you are going to be minuscule. So you're really, compromising on your chances significantly, right? So don't do it. Just apply for the fall. You'll have far more options. In fact, even for the fall, you have to really, really hurry. Spring is not something that I would recommend. All right. Can we have a studio tour of Gradvine? We don't have a studio. This is my cabin. We record my videos in my cabin. We record Suraj's video in his cabin. So no real studio tour as such. Jeevit, who's in our marketing team, and Nilesh, who's in our marketing team, have tried to convince me to do up a studio, but we don't have that much money right now. So we're not doing it. All right, I'm going to take one last question, guys. Let me see which one we pick. All right, I'm going to do this one purely because it's very different or slightly different from everything else we've covered, and I don't think I've answered this person's questions. Can you suggest the best programs for MS in industrial engineering while applying? The best industrial engineering programs: Georgia Tech, the University of Michigan. These are elite programs, among the very best in the world. After that, programs that I rate very highly: Texas A&M and Purdue, excellent programs. Not as good as Michigan and Georgia Tech, but those are like the best in the world. Texas A&M and Purdue are firmly top 6, 7. North Carolina State is very good. USC is very good, but a little expensive. If you're looking at safer programs, you should make sure you're going to cheaper programs when you're going for safe ones. Sunny Buffalo is reasonably priced. University of Illinois at Chicago, though expensive, is in a great location. So I've given you a whole bunch of options. I hope that was useful. So overall, I think I will wrap up my live. It's been about 40 minutes. And of course, there are a whole bunch of questions that I have not gotten to, and my apologies for that. If the person who said that SA Mentor didn't get in touch, please DM me again. I'm requesting you because we want to sort out the issue ASAP to make sure your process is on track. So please don't hesitate to message me. For the rest of you, if I'm not able to answer your questions, I'm sorry. I tried my best. Some of them were repetitive, so I skipped. But please schedule a free consultation and get started with the process really quickly. Time is of the essence. These 40 days, 45 days could play the biggest role in your future, right? It is crunch time right now. Like I said, over 400 students at this point are getting an advantage in their applications through Gradvine, their mentors and our suggestions, in terms of the narrative and in terms of the way they're targeting universities. So you should also get your biggest advantage. Our enrollment fee with us is an investment. You're investing on trying to get the best possible results from a master's program that's going to be very expensive. So for you to get to the best possible universities for the amount you're spending, the service with Gradvine is an investment, and it will be a worthwhile investment, as you can see with a whole bunch of our reviews, right? So please schedule that free consultation. You'll get very genuine advice, just like the one I gave you. I told somebody not to apply right now, very practically. That's the kind of advice you'll get on the free consultation call as well. And rest assured, with that paid services, the advice will be even better, right? So schedule your free consultation, get started with your process as soon as possible if you intend to enroll, and make the most of the time you have with us. Our team is on your side, your best friends throughout the process, always approachable and always open to feedback and always trying to help you out. So I look forward to seeing a whole bunch of free consultation calls booked. Until I see you live on YouTube and LinkedIn, perhaps again in 2 weeks' time. All the very best, but understand that if you're asking me the same questions 2 weeks later, you're already too late by that point. So all the very best, guys, with your process. I look forward to seeing you guys enroll at Gradvine. Thank you so much for your time.